Thank you very much, Rob, for today's session. The topic of today's session will be healthy and kind of nutrition advice for people that are either vegetarians or vegans. And it's becoming quite a trend, especially in communities that have never even thought or heard about this trend before. We work quite closely with Central and Eastern European communities coming into the UK, and the concept of not eating meat is quite new for and quite weird for quite a few people. But there's more and more people getting into this. They see the benefits, but on the other side, they hear quite often also bad things about it. Only a couple of days ago on the news, there was a research done by Oxford University saying that people that don't eat meat are 40 times more likely to suffer from broken bones. And so I would like to, obviously get your kind of knowledge on and your opinion, and also obviously some advice for people that are either vegetarians or vegans. How can they kind of what they should be eating, what should be maybe not eating, what are the supplements maybe they should be taking, can they exercise whilst they are not eating meat, these kind of things.
I've trained a lot of vegan and vegetarian people, and the main thing is the protein requirements. Obviously, protein is a really important macronutrient. If you're going for fat loss, you get a huge amount of thermogenic effect from food, from protein. So you expend more calories through eating protein because your body processes that and expends more calories during that. So it's actually a really handy tool. Obviously, as well, maintains muscle mass and can help you recomp during the time. So for people that are vegetarian and vegan, your primary concern is getting a complete amount of amino acids in the diet. Because obviously everything has protein. You see articles all the time about, broccoli has X amount of protein and spinach and stuff, but these are incomplete amino acids a lot of the time. So I would say would be either a whey protein, or if you're vegan, a pea protein or something along those lines to supplement along with your food. So protein on top of the whole food sources are really important. Obviously, vegetarians have a much easier time with that. I mean, you've got a lot more variety. Vegans is a lot more restrictive. But I would say first and foremost, an essentially amino acid protein, drink, or and a weight and a protein that's appropriate to whatever you are, either vegetarian or vegan. But there's great amounts of proteins now that are vegan friendly, along with the EAAs. The main thing is the leucine. There's a really important amino acid that is a contributing factor to building muscle.
Point is, why does people actually want to choose the option of becoming vegetarians or vegans? Okay, my opinion is very simple. If you are a big meat eater, a certain point in your life, you're gonna have to convert yourself into vegetarian or vegan. I can guarantee you that 100%. I know for a fact myself, I'm not vegan, I'm not vegetarian, but at some point in my life, the doctor will turn around and say to me, Rob, if you want to buy another 10 years of your life, this is how you need to live from now on. I know that for a fact.
And it is the case for majority of our clients and people that come to our center are Roma Gypsy from Czech Republic, Romania, Slovakia. And meat eating it's a big habit, like people eat meat in the morning for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. It's a whole day. And quite often people cannot imagine being without meat. But obviously with lots of meat, and especially the greasy meat, we see quite often Roma people suffering from obesity, but also obviously then from other health issues and conditions that are linked to this. So that's why quite often people are either turning themselves to being vegetarian, or they are advised by doctors not to eat as much as you said.
That's exactly that's what I was saying. They will eventually be suggested or have an advice from the doctor to turn into vegan vegetarian, because the inflammation as well. I know their diet is very poor, and they create a massive inflammation in their organs, kidney, liver, And the only way to detox that information is turn into a vegan vegetarian, you
Mhm.
know. And there is a lot of benefits on become when you turn vegan, vegetarian. One of the benefits, like just give an example. What was the number one killer in the world nowadays? Is heart disease. Number one killer. Okay, 100 years ago, one person out of 1,000 will have a heart disease. Why? Why is that? Because they weren't consuming as much meat as we're consuming now, right?
Mhm.
So heart disease, most of the problem heart disease come from a bad nutrition, and other things, cholesterol, well, you can name it, you can number a number of things. And we know when we consume meat, meat contains high cholesterol, high sodium, high calcium, and a lot of saturated fats. Even, for example, chicken breast
Mhm.
contains, I'll say, it's about 20 grams of saturated fats. Do you know what I mean? So there was a lot of known benefits when you're consuming the massive amounts of meat.
So what would you recommend to people that obviously have stopped eating meat, but also have no intake of like of the eggs? Can they still exercise and be active? Do running or bodybuilding, even though they don't eat meat and eggs and they don't drink milk?
I'll say this. Yeah, obviously, yeah, reducing. I mean, a lot of those countries, they eat more processed meat, so like sausages and higher and fat stuff. A lot of pork. So swapping to a vegan diet, reducing the fat, and I think you've got to manage expectations. There's a reason why bodybuilders eat a lot of meat.
Mm.
It's because, bottom line, we need a lot of protein and complete amino acid chains to build a large amount of muscle. You know, um, so if you want to be fit and healthy, I would say, yeah, being vegetarian or vegan, whatever, is actually probably the way forward. As long as you get your protein requirements, you're going to obviously have to have far less protein than usual, but getting that protein supplement in, getting choosing higher protein rich foods, chickpeas, beans, all this kind of stuff. That would suffice. Like I've said before, combining amino acid
Yes.
chains, right? So
Yeah, so,
getting
Tom,
multiple.
just a question. Do you think that vegans will have a protein deficiency if they'll continue if they becoming a vegan? Do you think consuming the protein that is required, for example, Peter mentioned about physical activity, right?
Yeah,
And we both know how important is the protein when you do any type of physical activity. And do you think like a vegan diet is sufficient to cover the protein synthesis that your body needs uh, for to support your lifestyle and to exercise? Just give it.
again, I think it, like, if you and I were to go vegan, no way. That's not
That's
happening.
that's
um
that's
we,
that's
we would
the
just
question.
melt away. But I think for the average man who wants to be healthy or have a little bit of muscle, being vegan, you could just about scrape together enough protein to
Because
have.
remember that we need protein for your hair,
Yeah,
nails, skin. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when you look into these vegan meal plans uh, constructed by very notorious nutritionists, the meal plans they look freaking amazing. Did you see that food?
yeah.
Like,
Mm.
if you when you look at the food, it's like, wow, I could eat this every day. I mean, but we all know to society days, you don't have time to be in the kitchen preparing that type of food every day,
Absolutely.
right?
Mm.
Now, if you look at the meal plans, the menus, they look amazing, absolutely amazing. Like they can make 3 meals with like 15 pounds or even less. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But the time of preparing and put it together, all the ingredients is a consuming time. In the society nowadays, we don't have the time to do that unless you have the time to put yourself into or get someone a professional help to set up a meal plan and prep your food. You're always going to suffer when you turn into vegan because I don't think there's enough protein in the vegan's food for you to even to support your health style, or even if you decide to start exercising.
Mm.
That's how I think.
And
Maybe.
that's the worry, because if people stop suddenly eating everything, meat, eggs, milk, and all these kind of things, and don't take any supplements, don't eat healthy, so they don't eat a lot of green vegetables and all these kind of things that you mentioned as well. They will have a deficit of the protein and all the vitamins. I know that somebody told me once that if you are a vegan, you don't get a B12 vitamin in your body because it's only in meat.
Yep.
So you have to take supplements whether you like it or not. So yeah, it's really a balance, as you say.
I
Omega
think
3.
that
There is no omega 3 on or omega 6
Hmm.
unless you take a supplement. You know what I mean? If you become a vegan, the,
leading on with what you're saying, it's totally agree. I mean, you're getting a lot of micronutrients from all the vegetables and stuff, but then you have to question the actual bioavailability of all these supplements that you'd have to take additionally to facilitate a bit more of a normal, healthier range from decreasing your foods to just vegan. So yeah, I mean, and also as well, the problem now is we have this kind of vegan, convenient fast food stuff that's coming in, and they are more unhealthy than a burger and chips. With all the chemicals and stuff that they've put in there,
yeah.
which then kind of undoes the whole point of going vegan.
Do you know what actually whether children can become a vegan or vegetarian? Is it good for them?
I would really say the formative years are so important. And why would you want to decrease the variety of food so you'd give your kids intolerances? Like,
Yeah.
so I've given myself an intolerance, and it's kind of taken me a while to undo it. I mean, I was kind of lactose intolerant through contest prep, because obviously
Yeah.
I have to reduce my food, I reduce my fat intake and stuff like that. So um dairy products weren't really involved, and then for years I was kind of lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why you'd want to force that onto a child. Well, not just that, but you know and bottom line, a child needs so much macro and micronutrients to grow. Like, why
Hmm.
would you want to limit you know
And while the child one day in the future, when he gets to adult stages, will decide to become normal and start let's just eat meat. And
Hmm.
like you just mentioned before, Tom, the intolerance that you build over these years, it'll be a completely chaotic on the metabolic rate system. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Imagine you haven't eaten meat for like 15 years. I mean, 17 years, and when you turn 18, in your adult stages, you decide to change it. Look how much impact that child would have on their body or on their health as well. You know what I mean? And I think is a completely disaster if someone decides to turn that child into a vegan or vegetarian. Completely
Hmm.
disaster.
Because there's so many different diets, keton and Cambridge diet and all those kind of things. Um, if they would decide that yes, I want to lose weight and I'll stop eating meat because I want to lose weight, is it, what would be your kind of answer to those people if they would like, if they are doing it purely to lose weight?
First of all, we all know we are basically right. Well, there's two ways. There's the way of losing weight or losing fat. Losing weight and losing fat is two different things, isn't it?
Hmm.
But one way or the other, we all know muscle, more muscle, less body fat, right? So what builds muscle? Protein.
Hmm.
So that's one of the reasons you should never remove the meat out of the question because the person wants to lose weight or lose body fat because that person automatically needs more muscle if he wants to really gain to a fat burning zone and start burning fat quicker. Don't you agree, Tom?
Totally agree. I mean, I've trained vegetarians over the years, and there is a distinct difference in how much body fat they can lose versus a meat eater. Like, that's just like, because broadly speaking, their diets will be slightly higher in carbohydrates. With meat eaters, you can bring the carbs very low, and you can bring the protein high. I mean, the two macronutrients your body genuinely require is protein and fat. Fat really important for hormonal processes in the body, and broadly speaking, they go hand in hand, right? The fat is with the protein, as like a map, so your body can assimilate and break down these proteins, right? So if you're wanting to lose fat or lose weight or whatever, I'm just gonna say lose fat. Reducing your protein intake is the worst way to do it. It really is.
I know a general person will think eating less is the way to go, and it would happen. What if you put your body into a deficit, eating less? What happened? You probably lose weight, but you gain fat.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's been so many studies, right? There's been a brilliant one where they have put someone exactly the same calories, one a 300 calorie surplus, um, one they raised carbohydrates, one they raised protein, and the people who raised the protein, they lost body fat and increased muscle mass, and the guys that increased carbohydrates increased body fat, even though obviously they're in a calorie surplus, so technically should have gained weight, the protein group, but they didn't. They lost body fat. So that just shows you the importance. And like I touched on before, protein has a really thermogenic effect on the body. So your body can expend more calories while taking in protein. So say you're on 150 grams protein, your body has to, well, percentagely, we don't exactly know, but it does burn calories while processing that. Whereas other macronutrients, it doesn't. And carbohydrates, they release a lot of insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone, which results to higher amounts of fat gain. So, broadly speaking, high carbohydrate diets will have you looking a little softer if you're not obviously expending that amount.
If you're on a deficit, you can be on a high carb diet as long as your body's on a deficit.
Yeah.
It's gonna allow you to lose weight. That will do it,
Mhm.
but you gain fat.
What is more important, eating well or exercising more?
Yeah, that's a good one. There needs to be a balance. There needs to be a balance. Depends on everyone's goals. There needs to be a balance. If the person wants to lose weight or lose body fat, there needs to be a deficit, which is the person needs to consume less calories and obviously spend more calories, whatever exercise that person is doing. We all know that. If it's the other way around, if you wants to gain muscle and become fitter and tone, whatever you call it, there must be a high consuming of high protein and a high volume of training.
I think because I get it a lot with my clients. I mean, I think very few people can out train a bad diet. I think what that question relates to is I think this person possibly might be thinking, hey, can I eat some extra crap and then kind of work it off?
Yeah.
And no, you
No,
you can't.
no, you
But yeah, I think both are important. Um, I don't think one take. I will say I think the diet is probably more important.
I think that's more
People
important.
train all the time and their bodies don't really reflect how much time they spend training, right? But you change your diet a little bit, you can dramatically look a lot more different.
And I've worked with many, many, many runners throughout the years. And the only reason they come to me is because they don't understand why they run 10K every day and they still don't look like they are like an elite athlete and they want to look like one of them. And the reason is always in the diet,
Hmm.
because they go on and run 10K and they eat the most random things just to keep the energies up, like simple sugars, high fats, and stuff like that, because they know that's what they need to generate the energy to do that running. It's not they're supposed to eat, but that's what they select to eat because they know simple sugars and high fats is going to give their energy to run forever.
Hmm.
But they end up looking like they don't even exercise. So for any person that start making any changes, whatever, into their lifestyle and diet and everything, I always suggest free half an hour 3 times a week.
Half an hour, 3
That's
times.
that's that's always what I suggest. Whatever they aim for, always, even just for health purpose, start off with 3 times a week for half an hour.
Brilliant. Okay. Um, if people are interested finding out more or getting a training from you guys, how they can find you and where they can find you, how they can contact you?
Well, through Instagram or even Facebook. Tom Day is on Instagram, Rob Reinaldo on Instagram. Because on Instagram we have our all business all linked up, right? The website, the YouTube, blah blah, blah, the podcast, and so on, so on, so on. So if you go to any one of us Facebook, you can easily get in
Mhm.
contact with us through via messages or email or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm based in a place called Bodyworks. It's located in Westwood. It's its old gym. It's been there since the early 90s.
I'm in Cambridge, so I'm in Kelsey Carriage. It's just like a bodybuilding gym.
We actually running a training camp on the 19th of December. It's a 4 hours training camp starting on next month on the 19th. Bodyworks in Westwood.
I see.
The people come and they will spend 4 hours with me and Tom, and we're gonna cover many different topics like I don't know, fat loss, muscle building. What else, Tom? Fill me up.
Yeah, we'll be doing some practical stuff on certain exercises, how to execute them properly, and
Yeah.
Okay.
but yeah, and then we'll be helping people get like a training plan and diet plan as well.
Yeah.
So it's £100, £20 deposit.
So the next one, I believe, is on Sunday, the 29th.
Which is this Sunday? Yeah, this Sunday.
The Sunday at 4 p.m. we said,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it's about gaining muscles, healthy and balanced diet, supplements, frequency and types of exercise and stuff like that. So I think there'll be many more questions than for this session.
That'll be a long one.
Yeah, it will
Be
be.
good.
Lovely. Okay, gents, thanks very much, and have a good afternoon. And yeah, speak to you
All right.
soon.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much.
Guys,
Cheers.
take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.